Welcome everybody to a WTFC episode. We are doing summer sessions here, talking with all of our board members, going through, connecting with each of them, understanding how they came into the industry, who they are, what they do, why they're so amazing, and what kind of skills we can learn from them. Today, we have Deborah. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Thank you very much, Hannah. So my name is Deborah Fraser. So I do sit as a board of directors with Women in Trucking. I'm very proud to be a part of that team. My full-time job, I am the director of operations, currently director of operations for Solid Waste Canada, and also the vice chair for Women in Waste Canada. New role for me in the last 2 years. Been with GFL for 12 years. And about 2 years ago, I transitioned into this position. Prior to that, I've got 28 and a half years of health and safety, transportation safety. So I was the national director at GFL for GFL Solid Waste, for liquid environmental, and for our construction division. So that was about 10 years of GFL. And then I just decided to transition and learn more about different opportunities for myself. And that's where I am today.
Wow. Okay. So take me back to the beginning. How did you end up there to begin with? What was the introduction into the industry like? How did that come to be?
So before GFL, I worked for a construction company called Amherst Crane and Concrete Pumping. I was there for about 10 years. I'm a graduate from HR, and that lasted 2 weeks into realizing that I should never be an HR person. The company I work for, Amherst, the construction division, they have concrete pumping and cranes, which I really didn't even know at that time that I was getting involved with a trucking company, right? Because I thought I was an HR person, which, like I said, that didn't work. But transition within a couple of weeks, one of our clients, our customers, don't know if I should say the name or not, but a very major construction company reached out to us and said, "Hey, can you give us your safety policy?" And the owners were like, "Deb, what's the safety policy?" And I was like, "I don't know. Do you have one?" So bottom line is they invested in me. They realized HR was not the best place for my personality to be. And they educated me, put me through school, working for them full time to get my my environmental health and safety diploma. So I went through them with that, started building policies and programs, learning about everything from like axles and trips and pre-trip inspections, and really understanding. And again, we're talking from the construction side of a different division, but still trucking. I still didn't even know 15 years ago that I was involved with trucks. I just thought it was construction stuff, right? So that was it. And then I got to a plateau in my life where I was working for the owners, and I realized I couldn't get any further in my life financially, even professionally, because it's a family-owned business. And as great as they were to me, I had to walk away and find something.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I got this call. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I don't know how the whole internet world works, but I got a call from GFL, and that was in 2013. And they said, come for an interview. And I ended up with amazing interviews, like 3.5 hours, one other 2.5 hours with Kevin Jennings, blah, blah. I walked into a situation that I didn't even know that I knew, Hannah, because the biggest thing is they walked in with like this 500-page CVOR documentation, and they were like, they had their first City of Toronto contract. They were in trouble because the Ministry of Labor was about to pull their CVOR. There was too many accidents, too many incidents. I'm sitting across from the person interviewing me, and he was like, we need help now. And I said, okay. So I started as just Ontario for GFL, just to like keep the CVR. With no CVR, you have no job. So let's be truckers, no CVR, and there's no job. So we did that. We wrote our CIP to the MTO. We had multiple meetings with St. Kitts at MTO and put this big plan together of what my expectations were. So a lot of training, remedial training, corrective training, just really, it was an ugly situation because I literally walked in and said, here's what's going to happen, and you're going to have to get rid of these people. And it was hard. But it was amazing because once people got aligned with that, and they realized, okay, let's get together, blah, blah, blah. Then, so from that, I got this amazing opportunity to run Canada for solid waste, which was amazing. So I was running coast to coast in Canada. And then I was then responsible for the liquid division and the construction side. So 3 different compartments of GFL, all safety. So I had a huge team in the solid waste, huge team in the construction side and liquid division. Oh my God, my heart is pounding. Like, I'm so proud, right? But GFL was such an amazing machine of growing. We had so many acquisitions I think at one point, one of my meetings in the ops team, I was at like 62 ops meetings of acquisitions. It was just crazy.
Oh my God.
So,
oh my God.
Yeah, but
it's insane.
Oh yes. So I think I'm employee number 465 at GFL. We're like 22,000 plus. But what was exciting to me was the growth. But what I was scared about was setting people up for failure because I couldn't do it anymore. It was just too much because there's 3 different types of in industries, right? So liquid, and then solid waste, and then construction. And I couldn't even pay attention to everything anymore. And I went to my bosses, which were so amazing. And I'm like, I need help. What do I do? So we split it all up. I hired a different person for liquid, different person for construction. I loved the trucking side of it, like the true trucking side of garbage. So I stayed with that. And then we just went on.
What's the parallel that you see between the 3 industries, construction, waste, and liquid? What's similar? What's different?
Okay, so similar is at the end of the day, if our trucks are not on the road doing what they're doing safe, like if we have trucks on the road, there's nothing. So whether you're liquid picking up the liquid, whether you're construction delivering the construction equipment, garbage picking up, at the end of the day, it's transportation.
Yeah.
So transportation overall, we need drivers. We need great drivers, AZ, DZ drivers, like that's it. The downside of that, I would say, is we are not, I don't know.
Not a downside, just what's different. You can give me a downside of them too if you want to, but
what's different is liquid is a higher risk than the garbage. And construction has a different mentality than liquid and solid. So liquid is a definitely higher risk when it comes to what we pick up, what they have to do. It's just a whole different conversation. MOE is so much higher tech. Garbage is garbage. We still have that higher hierarchy when it comes to what are we doing, public acknowledgement, city contracts, and then there's construction. I will always say this because I really started from construction. It's a different mentality of a boys club where it's kind of like they want to do what they want to do. They don't want to hear what the rest of you guys are doing. They want to do what they're doing. So it really is a different conversation, to be honest. It really is.
very, very cool. Yeah, I've been talking to some different associations outside of trucking about my Gen Z presentation and just where else it can apply. And I'm starting to talk to some different people in construction, and I found that as well. It's very different. It seems so similar, pardon me, but so different from a distance. I'm like, oh, this is a whole different bear to learn all about. This is so fun. But so what about transportation? You said you were a part of all 3, but like this is where your heart lies. This is where you have like some drive, some excitement. What brought you back to this? When you're looking at all 3 of them, why was this the one that you were like, I'm giving all these responsibilities away, we've accumulated them, now we're redistributing them. Why'd you keep what you kept?
I think for me, transportation is it's not even what you think it is. I don't know what people expect me to say. The truth is, transportation for me is so you walk into a company and you say, here's my resume, and I'm a professional driver and I need a job. And we say, okay, let's train you, let's get you going. And I can go backwards to that, which I won't. But so you got someone who comes in and they get into this like $500,000 vehicle and they're driving on the road. And now they're stuck into so many different things. There's idiosyncrasies of, the small laneway or the one-way lane or, in the city or For me, it was always safety. And this is why I say safety is such a crazy thing for me. I don't think we put enough emphasis on educating our people to be proactive in situations. So being in the trucking for me, I'm so excited to speak to our drivers about complacency. So what are you doing? How was your day today? Did you eat breakfast this morning? Are you on the regular route? Has somebody taught you what you need to do if you're not sure what to do? Because these are people who've got to pick up garbage. If we're going to tell truth, they're picking up garbage every day, and garbage is not going away, Hannah.
Mm,
So the other, like, this is not an AI conversation. This is like garbage. So as long as people are putting their garbage in their stupid propane places, out in places and whatsoever, we're putting our people in the danger every day to drive down smaller lanes because we've got bike lanes, in suburban locations where there's so many different obstacles happening. And we're asking them to go pick up garbage, by the way, 365 days a year, regardless of holidays, regardless. My passion for them is we need to talk to them every day. No, and I say, like I always tell my team, know your audience. Who are the people? What are your roots? Are you okay? Like I said, did you have breakfast today? What can I do to help you? Because that's what they're doing every day. And people don't even think that that's a big deal. And trucking is a hard job. It is insane when people just like, oh, beep, beep, driving down the highway or down the road, get out of my way. But those are the same people that the public is irritated about when we don't show up.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
So,
Of course. Are you kidding
right?
me? The most upset. We're the most mad. You're like, what do you mean I have to have this bag in my garage for an extra day or two or whatever it is? And it's so frustrating. What would you say to somebody who's interested in coming into it? And he's someone who's like, I've perhaps been a driver in some different areas. I'm interested in waste. I've never been a driver before. This is interesting to me. I mean, there is something to be said around garbage is not going anywhere. And in the environment that we're in right now, and people are struggling to find jobs in different places, there is something valuable about being like, no, 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 this isn't going anywhere. So why would somebody consider that? What should somebody consider before they do that? Walk me through that process a little bit.
Okay, so first of all, it's funny because I had that meeting today with someone at another team today. But so we've got a lot of people who want to do skilled trades. I think what's really important is how do we support people to even get that license, the AZ/DZ. But to your point, where somebody's already got an AZ or DZ and they're like, I want to come work for you, what does that mean? And GFL has got, like, just recently, we've put together this great LMS program. We need people to walk through the process, which is, for example, so get in the truck. So the training, pre-training, get in the truck, find out what it's like to pick up garbage, whether you're in a side loader or a rear pack. What is that feeling like? We need to, and I can't speak for all the other stuff, but for GFL, we need people to spend a couple of days to feel like, look, so I'm picking up garbage or I'm doing whatever. I'm in the truck. And what's it feel like? Realistically, to know what this means, because the trucking industry for GFL, it's very financially lucrative. It's amazing. But as lucrative it is, Hannah, people don't realize what is it like to sit on the left side or the stand-up side of a truck. So what we're trying to start doing is encouraging people to sit in the truck for a couple hours. So they're bouncing, they're going, oh my God, what the hell can I do this for 10, 14 hours, our hours of service allowable? Very great question, Hannah. But the thing is, when you're asking people to come and do this, here's what I can tell them. It's lucrative. It is supportive. The one thing I will say, which probably I shouldn't, but I will say it, it's talking about who the person is that's applying for the job. So if it's a man or a woman, and I don't mean that any which way, so they, them, there, and all respect to everybody. But it's about your personal life too, right? So garbage trucking is 365 a year, right? It's all the
Mhm.
time. So you have to think about, like, okay, what can we do to accommodate you? When you approach us, you've got your AZ, your DZ. How can we accommodate you if you've got children, right? And if you have to pick up the kids at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, these are huge conversations when we talk about, like, especially for me being an advocate and the vice chair for Women in Waste, we want to bring women on board, Hannah, but that's great. But like, who drops the kids off? Who picks them up? Can the husband? Can you? These are, and I kind of went off a little bit. I'm sorry about
That's
what you
okay.
asked me, but
That's
I'm
okay.
just trying to let you know, like, there's so many idiosyncrasies involved with, oh my gosh.
That's okay. I like it. To the person who's considering it, there is always work, there is always money, and it's never going away is something great to consider. But before you do it, think about your life circumstances, understanding the enormity of what it looks like and whether or not it's a good fit for you. I think is kind of what I had understood from that. What would you say from an employer's perspective who's like, can't find my drivers, I need more? Why are they struggling? What can they do in this kind of environment to bring more people in and keep more people for a long time if they're really struggling against this? What have you guys done from either GFL or from the position that you've seen with some other board members across that? What have you seen there?
So again, when you said that, so retention is a huge thing. So there's two parts to this. I'm going to talk internally really quickly first. Internally is important because once you have an employee in your door or an applicant with a great abstract, or even not just a great abstract, a driver, it could be an IT person or an HR person. But once you have that great person coming to you, then it's retention. How do we retain our people? What are we doing to make them feel great about where they are? What are we doing every day to recognize who they are? Like I said earlier, know your audience. How do you, every morning, good morning, hey, how are you? These are the simplest things when you think about life, when you get up every day. And I'm going to say this really quickly to say this before I get to the second part. When people get up in the morning, I mean, at my age, mid 50s, I've learned something in my years. When we get up in the morning to go to work, we put a hat on and we jump in our vehicles, and we show up at the office or the site, and we behave the way the company expects us to behave. Then I come home and I take my hat off, and then I'm like, and I don't even know what we want our people to know, whether it's GFL and for me personally, anywhere. We need to, again, know your audience. Remember that people have lives, people have the things they're going through. So we want them to feel, and we know that who they are, there's stuff that they're going through, but at the same time, it's a job. We still need you to do, you showed up, you got to come to the job, come to the table and do what you have to do. That is key to that. And then on the other side of that is knowledge and education. Like I keep saying, I feel like sometimes people just come to work and they're just doing it for the paycheck. And we have to acknowledge that too, if that makes sense.
Without a doubt, people have bills to pay, and we show up so that we can continue to live our lives in other ways. I mean, we talk at Better Together group about feeding families one shift at a time. Like that is what we do. They have bills to pay, they have mouths to feed, they go to work so that they can do those things. That's definitely a part of it. But very, very interesting. I like that. It's just kind of continual
Oh,
awareness.
sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. There was one thing I was going to add because I said there a second. So when we talk about that, I just want to say a little frustrated again about the skills trading side, about like, so I listened to Talk 1010, not to put that out there, but skills trades, and what is the government doing to support us, to support our people, our employees, to get into these potential. So one of the things, Hannah, I've got an issue with. So for example, GFL. So GFL, we do all these shows with not just women in trucking, but with so many different companies. So these people come to us, Hannah, like between 18 and I would say like in their 50s, and they don't want a job. And we're like, yep, let's go. But then they don't know how. So then we're like, okay, great. Can't help you. Thanks for coming. Let me know when you get your Z license. We have no proper bridges to show them where they get their funding for, whether they're new to the country. And we all know who our potential industry is for our drivers, but there's no like direction to where they get their fundings, their sponsorship, their support. We just say, thank you, come back. Thanks for coming and seeing all these great things that our companies have, but we haven't actually have the bridge that shows where is the financial support, where's the government supporting you, employee services. like there's not a clear direction they walk away from us that we can give that information to them so that they know. And that is an irritating thing for me because they come and we let them go, Hannah. We lose them, right? And then the last thing I was going to say is, I'm sure going to edit the shit out of this. So there was the financing. Oh, no. The other thing actually is really important, which I'm hoping you can resonate with me, Hannah, because of your age group. And you talked about this in your presentation. I think it was last year, apprenticeship.
Mhm.
So one of the things that I get from some people who are coming, and again, I'm not the talent team, as I told you what I do for the companies, but a lot of people call me and say, oh, I talked to HR, I talked to your talent team, I thought nobody's helping us. Because they were told, great, you got your Z license, for example, but go get a sponsor. Go call 17 people and companies and try to become an apprentice. So we're talking about people who, if you think about the demographics of the people who are drivers, these people are not going to be comfortable to pick up the phone and call 20 different companies. By the way, even on Google, they're not going to know who to call and say, hi, my name is Deborah. I just got my DZ license. Can I become an apprentice? Can I do apprenticeship at your location? Like, that's a huge breakdown, Hannah.
So
Sorry.
what should they do? If that's something that you're super passionate about and have thought a
Oh,
lot
I am.
about,
So
what's the solution?
my opinion is that the schools that are educate that are saying bring the kids and let's educate them and let's take their money and let's get them their D's and their A's that are their plumbing or electronic license or whatever. Those schools should be reaching out to the companies and saying, look, we are an amazing skilled trade school. We've got all these amazing students coming in. Here's our list. We'd like you to apply, or I don't know the schematics of that, but they should be like, and then the school could be like, I don't know, if you're looking for apprenticeship, let us know. So there's a list based on skill. And then when the students graduate, they've already got this list, Hannah, of, okay, I graduated from carpentry, I graduated from plumbing. And these are the companies looking for the apprenticeships. So those students automatically can say, okay, whatever, as opposed to what I've been told in the last like 6 months, these students have to go and find one. I mean, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but I'm just so I'm so frustrated because a lot of our students who are, whether, it doesn't matter about just drivers. I mean, it just doesn't matter any occupation. How can you ask somebody who is not just new to the country, so that's not even the whole conversation, just a junior person who doesn't have the self-confidence to say, I am going to call this company and say, can I speak to your HR manager? Because that's not my personality and that's not fair. And we're losing so much opportunities. Okay, go ahead.
I wouldn't disagree that we're losing those opportunities, but I think that that's something that every industry is asking of every recent graduate. Like, I just looked up online because there's this thing that we use called Handshake to look for different interns, and I just looked to see if you can do apprenticeships through it, and you can. Like, there are resources that are out there for people no matter the industry or the skill that they're in. There is a piece to these people aren't necessarily as comfortable in these environments, and so they don't necessarily know where to look. But I would argue if they're not doing the simple research that is involved to find the tools that are necessary, that's a person that I don't necessarily know we would want to hire because they're not being as resourceful.
No, Miss Hannah,
Please, I
because
mean,
not every,
please correct me.
no,
I
no,
think that there are people that we want to support and there are resources that you want to put out there and you want to help people without a doubt. Do not get me wrong, but not everybody is going to get the job. Not everybody is going to
you're
get the job.
right.
And so the people who fight for it hard, I mean, I'm sorry if you're willing to put additional work in, if you're willing to seek more resources in some ways, that's winning. That is finding the job. I don't know. I feel like I sound like a horrible person right
No,
now,
you're
but
not. No, you're not, Hannah, you're not. But I'll tell you right now, you have to understand not everybody has the opportunities that you have. And I'm going to say this very frankly, you don't understand. You don't, Hannah. You don't
That's fair.
understand. Okay, you don't. And I can speak for myself. We talk about journey maps and everything. When people look at me, Hannah, they're like, what is she? Is she Italian? Is she Spanish? Is she Italian? Is she white? What the hell is she? Nobody knows who the hell I am. I am 100% none of the above. None. I am complete minority. I just happen to be the way I look. So I've been lucky. Well, if you ever seen my journey map, I don't know if you ever have, but my journey map really speaks about how lucky I was to get through my journey of my life. Going to be 53 years old this year. That's where I am. But when people found out who I was, who my mom was, an Indian woman, who my father was, a Black Indian man, things changed massively, kind of, for me in my life. It was up and down where people were like, wait a minute, I didn't know your family was this. Who are those kids on your desk? I literally was asked that question, Hannah. My children, pictures were on my desk, and I was literally asked, who are those kids? They're mine. Oh, really? Because they're so dark. So where I'm going with this conversation is, I hear what you're saying, Hannah, but I'm very passionate about this. There is a conversation that needs to be led without any visual of any of us, just our application and our information. And that's all it is. Because sometimes people become so biased of who we are. And even the age group, right? Even the age group, they're like, oh, you're 19. Oh, you're 20. We're not going to hire you. No, no, no visual. Just here's my information. Here's who I am. And that's it. And I'll tell you something. For nothing. I know you're recording this, so here I go. But when I first heard you speak years ago, at one of the events, to be honest, at first, and you were like, stand up if you're millennium, sit down if you're a Zen, and I was like, oh my God, she's noticing me. I'm old. But what I loved about you is you did exactly that. You didn't care about who we were. You cared about the facts, the details, the key. You were just so amazing the first time I saw you. That's why I keep resonating to you, because you focus on things that people forget to concentrate on. I know.
Mhm.
And that's so I'm sorry that I went on and on about that. And I know we're going to be past our time soon, but it's just, you're such an amazing person at what you do. Even reading your storybook, understanding your thinking, you're obviously probing questions to get me jabbed up. But
No, no, not, I mean, not necessarily. I'm probing questions to try and give people information. And so I am curious, and I don't want to discredit the fact that I have been incredibly blessed, like without a doubt, and have had opportunities and resources that have been incredible. And I think that that's a piece of it. We need to put those resources and opportunities and information out there, and I want it to be as accessible as it most certainly can be, and that we give people the opportunities that are deserved to them. But as you were talking about that, and then this is one side question that I will ask, and then we will go back. But I'm just very curious based on what you've just said. Like, forget the pictures, forget the images. We don't want you to see it. We don't, like, disconnect that from everything. I was just talking to somebody else who works in staffing yesterday, two people actually, one today and one yesterday, and both of them were using images in their candidate sourcing sites and sending photos of the candidates to the people. Now, we don't do that. I think that that's personally a bad idea. What they had said was crappy people are going to be crappy people, and if they're going to not choose you based on who you are, I think you'd rather know in the first 2 minutes than after 3 interviews. What would your take be on that perspective and what you've just said in regards to how you're presenting yourself and seeking opportunities?
Mhm. So I am proud to say that if you were to look at my ratio of hiring in GFL, even just not GFL, but any companies, I'm not to exaggerate, but I'm about 98% successful rate. And I know that because the legal department of GFL, the senior partner told me that a couple of years ago, and I was like, do you realize what your ratio of success is of your hiring? And the reason I'm saying this to you is because I don't care what this is about. What I want to know is what your passion is. I ask a lot of questions that HR does get mad at me. They're like, you can't ask those questions in your interview. But what I want to know is like, do you have responsibilities? Do you have a mortgage? Do you have images? What is your future goals? What do you do on the weekends? And people will say to me, that has nothing to do with the job role of this is the responsibilities. But I'm hiring somebody that I want a partner in my life, a partner in our life. I want to know what they're thinking, what they do on a daily basis. I don't need to know, like, okay, obviously you've got this skill trade, you've got this, yeah, okay. That's great, obviously, the major focus, but I want to know who you are. As I said earlier, know your audience. To retain employees is to make people feel proud about who they are. To come to work every day is so crucial to me. And I want them to know that I want to know that if I need to call them, they need to call me, that we're together, because if somebody's that comfortable at work and we can work together, it's okay. And again, I know I've heard the story of, well, people can take advantage. And look, if those are people taking advantage of you, Hannah, then they're not going to work well for you anyways. But my ratio, I will always reach out. And yes, even my best employees, and Shelley Walker, if she was here, she would know, some of my greatest employees, I've given them poop. Like they've done things that I'm not agreeing with, and I've got poop from my bosses upstairs. But one thing I know, it's like, not to say this without making it sound weird, it's kind of like parenting. I used to say that years ago. We have the children underneath us, which again, I know a lot of people don't like it. That's why I stopped saying that about 8 years ago. I got in trouble for saying that. But it's the same thing. I'm going to discipline you. I'm going to love you. I'm going to nurture you. I'm going to educate you. I'm going to motivate you. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to have your back every single day. And I need my employees and our people to know that, because this is where we spend our time with. And I'm never going to change my personality and my concept of that. And I'm proven that that's right. When you treat people without respect and you don't care about them, well, they leave. And I've heard the saying, people don't leave jobs, they leave bosses, right? I believe people leave jobs from culture. They don't stay. Doesn't matter the boss. The money. If they are not okay every day, they're going to go away. And why would we let like another organization? I mean, there's so many organizations that you deal with, but why would you want them to leave GFL and go to work for someone else?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, why can't we take 2 minutes to know our people, Hannah? Who are you? How's your son? How's your cat? How's your bird? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so, for me, it's very personal. Okay.
Okay, so looking beyond that, looking beyond, sorry, not that, looking beyond the human's shell into the deeper part of them, and then keeping that. I haven't actually asked you any of the questions that I was intending to ask you yet, so that's great for being at 35-ish minutes here. But I do have another one that I want to ask before I go into the one that I'm supposed to ask you. You have mentioned now being a mother and talking a little bit about waste and the 365, 24/7, never ending. What has it been like being a mom and waste? How have those two lives lived together? How have they balanced well together? How have they not? How have you navigated that? How old are your
Well,
kids?
I don't. So yeah, my kids are. I've been doing this for over 30. My kids are 33 and 30. So my boys are
Okay.
big, and I've already
Okay.
got I've got a granddaughter, a grandchild on the way. But what I will say, don't forget, I started this industry way before this kind of conversation took place. Right? I don't even know. Like Hannah, with all due respect to you, I think you might have been a baby for me too. So when I started this industry with men, there was none of this conversation about anything going like this.
Hmm.
So for me, I'll tell you right now, it was my family, I was very strict. So dinner on the table, breakfast ready, lunch in the fridge ready, homework being done. And not all the parents are like that. So to ask me, is me personally, I'm pretty sure, as my family says, I'm kind of the old school mentality. There's not very many people like me, but I ran my house like old school mentality. My kids came home, picked them up, they came home. Like I had a very I was a very strict mother, to be honest. So I don't think it's fair to compare me to anybody else, but I'm not shitting you, Hannah. I was like, home, this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing. So you're not doing. My kids never left the house on Friday, Sunday. If friends could come over, that was it. I'm eyes, homework, everybody had homework to do. Plus they have to read. This is why I think I love you so much. They have to read and then write their feelings and their description about what they read. Oh, I was that parent. Yes,
Okay.
and I'm still that parent. Yeah.
That's
So
curious. That's
yeah,
curious.
so I'm
Okay.
sorry. So yeah.
Wow. I again did not realize I did this to Sam today too. I didn't realize that they were quite that old. But I mean, still being in were you in construction at the time when they were young? So
Yep.
similar industries, I would
Okay. No, no,
imagine,
no,
but
no,
still
no.
coming
I
out.
wasn't. No, no. At the young age, actually, I wasn't, Hannah. I wanted to be a lawyer. I was working for a major law firm. Yes, ma'am. I wanted to be a lawyer. Actually, that was my plan to be. I want to be a lawyer, and I think that's why investigations and trucking and things worked so well for me at the end of the story. But no, I wanted to be a lawyer, and then I fell down the stairs, and then I got two babies by the accident falling down the stairs. So they just came out. I don't know what happened.
What? Okay, I'm not going to ask more questions about that.
Right. So, anyways, and then actually, and I was there for 9.5 years. So, if you think about the year I just said, I'm 32 years. So, law firm, almost 10 years, Amherst, 9.5 years, GFL, 12 years. That's my life. Going to be 53. That's my whole life. I want to be a lawyer. But, anyways, but what I'm saying is that, so the lawyers I work for told me, they're like, Deb, you have to make a choice. So I used to pick up the kids from daycare, bring them to the law firm at like 3:45, 45. Wouldn't leave till 9 o'clock at night. They'd sit in the boardroom. They'd sleep in the boardroom. They'd have food. And then I was like, I can't do this. And then, boom, move into health and safety. And that's where the Amherst team took me in because I'm like, I can't be a lawyer. I couldn't go to law school. I wanted to, but I had a family. I was a single mom, and I just couldn't. And all of a sudden, I was blessed with go be with trucking people. So yeah,
I love that. I'm
and
a
I was
boardroom baby. Go
I
ahead.
will say, and I will say this, not for so, and my boys who are still involved with GFL, both of them, um, used to come with me every morning at Amherst, every Saturday and Sunday doing invoices and route management tickets. I taught them how to do that since they were like 4 and 7, doing route tickets and payroll. Then at GFL, same thing. So they followed me, and I don't think they meant to, Anna, but they did.
I love it. Okay, well then I have a different question for you.
Okay.
What was it like raising your kids with that work hard mentality? Like just what you had said around like they were boardroom babies. I was a boardroom baby. I slept under my
Yep.
dad's desk. Like I
Yeah.
remember like I have vivid memories like sleeping on the greens under his desk and like cuddling up like it was a fort and whatever that would look like. So that is that is a kind of kid. Like that is a type of kid.
Yeah.
What was it like raising them? What were they learning? What were you seeing that was different from them to their peers because of it? What did that do for them in their life? And what would you suggest to parents who are maybe going through that and they're like, I don't want to bring my kids into the office. Like, I don't want to ruin their Tuesday night. It's like, well, are you or are you making them really strong adults? Like, how did that kind of play out? What'd you see there?
So it's funny you asked that question. So I've always told my kids there's two type of people in the world, and I actually told this when I had to take them with me back and forth to the law from the beginning. I had to tell them there's two kinds of people. There's leaders and there's followers, but we need both. You can't be a leader if you have nobody following you, and you can't be a follower if you have nobody to lead you. And
Yeah.
I say to tell my kids, you decide which way you want to go. And it was just impactful. And I think my relationship with my kids was, I mean, it's so funny when you ask that question, Hannah, because it can't relate to every parent. Every parent is so different and how what they think their kids are entitled to, what they're not. For me, I am a strong believer that my kids were not entitled to shit unless they deserved it. So show me your homework, show me your stuff. Where I knew other people had parents, I had kids, I'm sorry, they're my age, like their kids' age, who were like, oh, it's okay. I'm so worried about the kids, same thing like you and I went through. But they'd be like, oh, I sent them to the movies with the neighbors, or I gave them money to go to the store. And I was like, and they were like, Deb, let the kids go. And I'm like, no, my kids stay here. under the table in the boardroom until they finish their homework, and they have to earn the privilege to get what they want to. So again, remember I said earlier, like I was a very strict parent with my boys, but at the same time, they got the world. They got it and they saw it. And then when they compare, if you want to talk truth, when I look at some of lot of the parents that I'm still talking to, they've got issues with their children because their kids feel like they're entitled to things. They don't want to do certain things. And they're like, what the hell, Deb? What can you do to help? And I'm not saying our parenting, Hannah, you and I and your family are the right way. I'm just saying it's a different way we look at things. And for me, it was, here's a schedule. And once you do it, you're going to be fine. Was it easy? Hell no. Hannah, I was taking, I see my hair.
Those two braids are killing me.
Yeah, and killing me. I was on the bus. I can tell you, I used to take the bus at 3:45 a.m. to go to Kennedy, and I don't know where you are, Kennedy and Elsmere, so Scarborough, from where I was in Markham to Scarborough. I used to take the bus at 3:45 in the morning, and my eldest son, Tristan, he used to stand in his bedroom window and look at me in the window, and wait. And I used to see him at 3:45, and he'd wait to see that number 52A bus to come pick me up. And then he was done. I had breakfast already made, scrambled eggs, one like scrambled, one like fried egg, 2 toast, my little love notes that I used to leave on the table, breakfast, everything done. And they would know. They had one, remember back in the day, the flip phone? They had one phone. They'd have to call me, Mom, we're on our way, going to catch the yellow bus, we're on our way. So to ask that question depends on the family, right? Everybody's different, Hannah. That's such a hard question. And it's just, I don't know that's my life, but that's not everybody's life, right?
Yeah, that's okay. Everybody is very, very different. And for that reason, your episode is going to be longer than others because I don't want to cut out the information. But okay, so I've got a couple more questions for you, and then we will we will finish it out. So you have, oh my gosh, like gone through so many different transitions, done some really cool things. What is the one thing that you would say that you're like, I'm really freaking good at this? Like, what is your one staple skill, talent? We'll take it home till the crows run out. And then what's the resource that you would recommend that people look at if they're like, ooh, I'd love to get that, and this weekend I've got some time to do something for myself. What would you recommend? What is that for you?
Can you give me an example?
Absolutely. For myself, I'm a great public speaker. I love talking to other people. It's so fun. And I have this course that I use called the Mic Drop Workshop that people should absolutely check out if they want to learn how to do that. Just something that you're really good at. And sorry, I might have just taken yours because you're a pretty freaking great public speaker yourself.
So, yeah, I'm going to say, I think public speaking, I don't even know when I realized that. It was a long time ago, I'm sure, but I didn't realize it. So I'm going to say, yeah, definitely. I would like to say public speaking, but I want to say like one-on-one mentorship too. I think my biggest success, especially at GFL, has had the opportunity to speak with so many amazing women and men. Some of the concerns they have, and taking the time, again, I always say know your audience, but listening. And then here's the thing about mentorship and coaching, right? It's getting back to them. How many times have you talked to somebody who's like, you say to them, I've got this concern, what do I do? And you never hear from them again. Or when you do, it's like this shorted end of, I tried to do what I could, but I couldn't. I pride myself, and I actually still talk to my team. One of the people on my team is like 20 years older than mine, who reports to me for the last 12 years. I always remind them, if we're going to say something to somebody, let's follow up. So I think for sure, public speaking, obviously, I love doing that. But I think more for me, it's like one-on-one. What do you need, and what can I do, depending on the need, and just listening, just really listening. By the way, and I have a hard time listening if nobody's noticed. Yeah, right? I'm listening and I'm already responding. This is a whole big no-no for mentorship and coaching, but I'm already like, but I think that's good. See, you're like that.
So what's the resource that you would use? Is there anything that you've like read or listened to or watched that's helped you learn to listen?
There are so many. people. Like right now, there, you say that, and I just realized how many amazing people I have in my life. There are so many people who will take the time, yourself included, like my family. I won't say all my family, because that would be a lie. I will say like my husband, my uncles. I have one uncle who is a professor in chemistry in Nate University. He's 100% that person. And now that you ask that question, what an important question that is, because there are so many people who I can speak to who just let me talk, and then they're like, "Are you done?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm done." Okay, but you know what? I'm still learning that, and I really am still learning that. It's so important to just not say anything if the person is done. And I'm really blessed, Hannah, that I have a lot of you guys who allow me to just. My nickname at GFL, they call me the Tasmanian Devil, because I go like this.
That is the highest form of compliment from people that you love. If someone calls you
But
that,
that's
that
it.
you care.
But
But
that's a really good question. Thank you.
I
Really
think
good
that's a
question.
I think that's a really good tip though, just in the concept of like if you want to be that person who can listen for other people, you have to have the people that will listen to you. Because no matter who you are, you still have like we are machines. Stuff comes in, stuff comes out, and we have to process it some way or another. And so if you're trying to be that soundboard for someone, you need a soundboard for yourself. And so finding those resources, I think is really cool. Okay, we are going to debunk a myth together. And then we're going to talk a little bit about human trafficking, and then we'll let everybody go. Is there
Okay.
any specific myth that comes to mind for you about waste, about trunking that you would like to debunk? Or I have one for you if you don't.
Okay. How about this? How about I don't speak and I'll let you start?
Okay. So my myth question is, do we recycle? I think people in the US think this is a much bigger myth perhaps than in Canada. But I know so many people in the US who are like, I don't think we actually recycle. I don't think it's true. Do we? Is it happening?
Okay, so 100%, I will say that the MRFs, 100%, because I've been to them, and I mean, I did the safety side of it, even on the operations side, 100%. So when people say, do they recycle? Do we actually, 100% we do. But here's the simplicity of this. Ready? No, ready? Ready? Here's the simplicity. This is the compost bin. This is the garbage bin. This is the recycling bin. So when our community puts the recycling into the garbage bin or the compost bin, and then they get mad at us, the waste company, who don't dispose that at the right location, I'm sorry, our operators are not obligated to get out and open every container and everything to make sure that you put them in the right places. So do we recycle? 100%. But we can only recycle what is put in the correct containers. Where I go back to community, municipal contracts, city contracts to educate our communities to say, do you know what the green bin means? This is compost. Do you know what the garbage bin means? Do you know what the blue bin means? So
Hmm.
it is irritating when I hear community comes back and they're like, oh, this is in the transfers or this is in the minefield or and landfills, what are we doing? But hold on, our drivers are not loading your garbage in the sense of wrapping it. We just pick it up. It's supposed to be in the right place, which to your point, especially this time of the year, Hannah, is huge for fires for us. Because right now, what do people do? They put they're painting their houses and they put the paint in the garbage bag. They put the propane tanks in the garbage, which gets compacted into this big closed oxygen tight event. Then all of a sudden, what happens with oxygen and combustion? We get fires. And then it looks like, GFL, oh my God, your truck's on fire. What are you doing? It's not us picking up or deciding. Here it is. Watch again. Ready? Compost, garbage, recycling. If we could just
Compost,
have everybody
garbage,
follow the rules,
recycling.
and then this way you don't put our drivers in jeopardy, because our
Yeah.
drivers are in jeopardy when the trucks are on fire and they are trying to defuse it. And that 911, it becomes just a crap show. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
done. So there's your answer.
All right. So we do recycle. We do recycle. GFL does recycle, but society, some specific humans are not good at recycling, and that creates the problem. So that is a great debunk. Thank you. That gives people their chore. I was in a passport. I was in a airport the other day, and I was putting all of my different stuff in the different bins, and I heard a dad that was like, "Hey," and like hit his kid and was like, "Did you see that? She did it properly. She put it in each of the things." I was like, "What?" What do you mean you're pointing that out to your child? Like this should be a very standard common practice. Like it
Yeah.
was a very funny thing to have pointed out, but important nonetheless. And then our very last thing for today is, do you have a tip for human trafficking awareness? Is there anything that you have seen from being on the board or heard that you're like, people need to know this? This is really important.
It's funny when I read through the questions that I think, and again, from traffic, from trucking and safety and all the different things, operation, women and waste, and I love all of the things I'm involved with. This, I think that if somebody upstairs in the world came down and said, Deb, would you drop everything else, like women and waste, women trucking, EHS, GFL, and they're like, we just want you to focus on this, I would do it for half. I shouldn't say that out loud. So edit this, don't say this.
You can't take that out.
Edit. But anyways, but my point is, this is my heart. And so when I looked at the questions when you sent it, I thought, okay, so there's like, listen to your instincts and stuff like that. And this is a really hard question, because in order to answer this question, we'd have to directly speak to the people involved with the trafficking, not the bad people. I'm talking with the people that are being taken. And that's my problem. So I can sit there and say, yeah, listen to your instincts, be smart, learn the ABCs, but we're not getting to them. And that's my issue. My fear is, how are we getting to them? How are we communicating? How are we educating? I think I mentioned this a couple months back. That's my thing. Like, I don't know. And I don't think there's enough education in school. I don't even know if there's enough education like on the en route and the trucking. I'll tell you this one small thing to tell you this, Hannah. A few years ago, one of my girls are working for me at the time, and I'm saying girls because it was a girl. She's about 24 years old at the time, and there was no en route for a while, but we have to go to the ladies' room. So we stopped at a small little gas station, heading to Windsor. And my first thought was like, I just know. I'm like, I don't want to have to kick someone's ass today. So, but I'll go. So we went, and it was the most uncomfortable. So all of a sudden we were in there, went to the bathroom, we were going to get two small coffees, we didn't get him, it was the worst smelling coffee. But all of a sudden around us, there was like three guys here, two guys here, very big gentlemen. And thank God that unfortunately, like I'm a little bit psycho. So like, being a kickboxer in my life. So that took me into, oh yes, girl, you don't know about me. I used to teach at Centennial College kickboxing. What? But anyways, I went into like, watcha move. But I was like, no, I was like not that crazy. But my point is, I was like, are we good? We're done. Let's go. And you know what's messed up about that, Hannah, is that I knew I should not have gone into that parking, into that little gas station. But we were women. There was nowhere else to go. And I was not going to pull on the side of the road on the way to Windsor. But I was like, we have to go to the ladies' room. So when I think about that question, awareness and tips, know your gut instinct, but self-awareness and also like things like have your phone with you, like be ready, like, or even have somebody on the phone with you. Like if you're going to that gas station, be on the phone. Hi, sister, mom, coworker. I'm here at JoJo Smith Place right now. I'm walking to this gas station. Just want to let you know. Da, da, da. I know I'm doing it for dramatic purposes, but
No, that's okay.
just to like show like this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing, because that day I was with the other girl, but there was 5 guys, 3 here, 2 here. Anything's possible. We could have anything. I mean, they could have overtaken whatever. And whatever. And Deborah was a little psycho, which I tend to be, and clearly you know that
No.
already.
No, that's good. I like that. Trust your gut. Aware, be aware, be aware. Have your phone. Tell people where you are while you're doing it. And then because I have now just learned that you are a kick-ass kickboxer, and that's the coolest thing on the planet, is there, and you can say no, or you can send me a video later to add to this and we can drop it in, or you can show me right now, whatever. Is there one move, one thing that somebody could do if that was a situation they were in and they were approached? Is there anything that you're like, this hit, people could know this hit and this can save their life?
Um, I don't know if it's appropriate to say it on this kind of call. And I'm not talking about hitting the pee-pee. I'm not talking about the pee-pee. The pee-pee is the most obvious thing that people think. That is not the place to hit. It's the jugular.
Okay. Why would that
It's
be
the
the topic of this call? This is about this. Teach people to be aware. Teach people to be safe. So
okay.
here and here.
No,
Okay.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, in all of my years, and I've been doing this since I was 13 years old. I started doing martial arts with my family in Edmonton. My uncle was a black belt in karate, and then I came to Toronto and I got my black belt in kickboxing. This is like a personal thing for me. That's why I don't really talk about it. It's personal to me, but everybody in my family knows. But no, the pee-pee, I don't care about the pee-pee. There's two things that are major contact. It's legit to the throat. Like, it doesn't even matter. Side kick, hip throat. If you look it up, just listen to me. Listen, look at, you're putting your pen on your throat right now.
Yeah,
If you just if you just touch your throat like that, yeah, and that's just a tap.
yeah.
The whole side arm, the whole disc, like, and then if you're not wearing glasses, which you are, I know it sounds creepy and gross. I'm telling you right now, my friggin' finger in one of your eyes. Good luck. Try to rub your eye right now a little bit. Imagine I
Oh,
just poked in your eye.
yeah, no, if
I
you're
know
in
it
danger,
sounds so crazy.
if you're about to get human trafficked, it doesn't matter that it's gross to stick your finger in somebody's ear, you're gonna do it. So, okay, so here, take it out with
PP
the
is PP is like the third. I don't get. Everyone says kick them in the nuts. To be honest, you know what? And the things have changed so much now. To be honest, you're not sure who is what, whatever, and you don't even know. Like, it doesn't matter. But the two things that we know that you can't mess with, it's here and the eyes. That's
okay.
it.
Okay.
I'm just dead ass.
No,
I
that's
just said that,
good.
dead
That's
ass.
good. That's good. It's okay. I did once too. It's fine. We're fine. Well, thank you so much for
Okay.
that. This has been such a good one. This will be the first episode. We'll kick it off with a bang.
Are you gonna
Let
edit? You're gonna edit me out, right? What's the...
I will edit it. Well, I won't edit it. Nishme will edit it. She's the rock star behind that.
Okay.
But no, we will edit it a little bit here and there. Okay, I'm gonna do a closing.
Yeah.
I'll just do that, and then I'll stop the recording, and then just hang out for 2 seconds. So. Thank you, all our listeners. You have started us off with a bang here with Deborah. This has been a fantastic episode. I've personally gotten lots out of this, the eyes, the throat, the things, all the things. We've learned so much from so many different positions, no matter which role you come from. So thank you for all of your information and your stories, for sharing with us. Listeners, thank you for coming and listening with us. If you have questions, comments, or concerns and you want them answered, you can send them in and maybe we will just include them in an episode. But thank you for now, and we'll see you all again in a little while.